Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Movesets video. Today's video is going to be all about Alolan Muk, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Alolan Muk is a Poison Dark-type Pokemon introduced into Generation 7 as an alternate form to the Poison-type Generation 1 Muk that's been around since the beginning. Before its abilities, it has access to 3, the first of which being Poison Touch, which gives this Pokemon a chance to poison its opponents whenever it damages them with contact moves. The second being Gluttony, which allows this Pokemon to consume berries when it falls below 50% of its health as opposed to the usual 25%. And the third being its hidden ability known as Power of Alchemy, which allows this Pokemon to adopt the ability of a fallen ally. Before its stats, defensively, Muk has a base 105 HP stat, 75 defense stat, and 100 special defense stat, allowing it to be very tanky, especially on the special side of things, and coupled with an Assault Vest, which is one of the most common ways you'll actually see this Pokemon used. But offensively, it has also a really nice base 105 physical attack, allowing it to do a lot of damage with physical moves, a base 65 special attack, which is alright, and a fairly slow base 50 speed stat, meaning that this Pokemon will be outsped by quite a lot of things unless you put some investment into that stat. But with that, let's take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to be running Alolan Muk with an Assault Vest, which, if you've run into this guy before, is pretty much the most common way you will see it. So we're going to start this one off by giving it an Adamant Nature to increase its physical attack but lower its special attack, going with the Poison Touch ability, and then an EV spread of 252 HP EVs, 252 physical attack EVs, and 4 speed EVs to allow it to max out its HP and physical attack stat. And as mentioned before, we're going to be running an Assault Vest as the item on the set to allow Muk to actually increase its special defense further at the cost of not being able to use any non-attacking moves, but this set doesn't really make use of those anyways. Before the moves, the first thing that we're going to be going with is going to be our main stab poison move in the form of Poison Jab or Gunk Shot. Poison Jab being more accurate but less powerful, but having a greater chance to poison when you take into account Poison Jab's own chance to poison and the Poison Touch ability because it makes contact, whereas Gunk Shot is a stronger option, less accurate, but doesn't make contact, but still has a pretty good chance to poison in and of itself as well. So it's really whichever one you feel more reliable going with. But then we're going to be running Knockoff as a way to give this Pokemon a powerful Dark-type move that will also be removing our opponent's items. Pursuit as a way to not only damage Pokemon that are trying to switch out, but more specifically Pursuit trap those Pokemon weak to your Dark-type moves, such as Ghost types and Psychic types. And finally, in the last move slot, running a few options, but Fire Punch as a way to allow this Pokemon to deal with Steel types, Clear Smog as a way to allow this Pokemon to put a stop to setup sweepers, or Shadow Sneak as a way to allow this Pokemon to have a little bit of priority and circumvent its significantly low speed stat when compared to many other Pokemon. Now, as far as this set goes, there's quite a lot of flexibility in what you can do with it, especially EV spread-wise, because you can 100% run more speed investment than I show you right here, and it really just depends on what Muk is going to be matched up against that you want to outspeed. Furthermore, I've also seen sets that have run Fire Blast instead of Fire Punch to give you a powerful Fire-type move that hits on the special side because most Steel types are typically more physically defensive, so that is something to keep in mind too, but there is quite a lot of flexibility and really allows this set to be one of the best sets for Muk to use out of the gate if you've never used an Alolan Muk before. As for this next moveset, we're actually going to be running Muk Specially Offensive, which interestingly enough actually allows this Pokemon a reliable way to deal with many of the counters to its physical attacking sets. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Modest Nature to increase its special attack but lower its physical attack, and going with the Gluttony ability this time because none of the moves that we're using make contact. As for the EVs, we're going to max out our HP and special attack this time with 252 EVs into both of those stats, and then put the remainder 4 EVs into its speed stat. And as for the item on the set, again, we could go with an Assault Vest to allow this Pokemon to have that increased special defense stat, but we can also go with a Wiki Berry on the set, which is really great when used in combination with Gluttony because Wiki Berries recover 50% of your health, and Gluttony will allow this to activate when you fall below 50% of your health, just thus giving you a pretty substantial heal when that does happen. So do keep this in mind as a really useful option to run in your item slot. But for the moves on the set, the first thing that we're going to be going with is Acid Spray, which is an okay damaging Poison-type special attack, but more importantly is an attack that lowers your opponent's special defense by 2 stages. And now, as mentioned before, Muk's special attack is not that great, But with Acid Spray, by lowering your opponent's special defense, you are actually able to really easily make use of your special attacking moves, and as mentioned before, allow this Pokemon to be a pretty reliable counter to the Pokemon that would come in and deal with its physical set. But for the other moves in the set, Dark Pulse is there to be your main stab dark type move, which is a really great option and also has a chance to flinch if you are faster than your opponent, which won't happen too often, but is a possibility. We're also going to be running Fire Blast on the set to be a really powerful fire move to go for, which will help deal with opposing steel types that will want to switch on your poison moves. And then for the last move slot, we could either run Giga Drain, which is an interesting coverage option, which will not only give this Pokemon some healing when it damages them, but also give it just an interesting grass-type coverage move that you wouldn't really see this Pokemon using. But if you want to go with a secondary option, Sludge Bomb is definitely the one to go for, as it does have a little bit more power, being a stab poison move than Acid Spray, and could be a little bit more useful just because it is a stab move as opposed to a coverage option, which Giga Drain is. But any way you run this last move slot, this Pokemon does have a lot of special attacking potential, especially if you are able to get off an Acid Spray and lower your opponent's special defense, thus improving the power of your special attacks. As for this next moveset, we're going to go back over to Muk's physical attacking side of things and run it as a effective curse setup sweeper. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Careful Nature to increase its special defense but lower its special attack, going with the Poison Touch ability, which is extremely useful on this particular set, and an EV spread of 252 HP EVs, 4 defense EVs, and 252 special defense EVs to max out your special defense, which Muk has quite a lot of. But for the item on the set, we're going to be running Black Sludge to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, and the moves are basically designed to allow this Pokemon to be a mono-attacking sweeper of sorts. So the first thing that we're going to go with on the set is going to be Curse, which is a move that's going to be increasing our physical attack and our physical defense while also simultaneously lowering our speed stat. And this will allow Muk to be increasingly more bulky from the physical side of things and also do quite a bit more damage. Then the only attack that we're actually going to be going with on the set is going to be Knockoff, because it's one of the best moves in the game. It has really great just neutral coverage all around, as there's only a couple of things that really resist dark type moves, and it will also be removing your opponent's items, making them easier to deal with. And additionally, because this is a contact move, there will be a chance for Poison Touch to activate, which will allow this set to work even more effectively if that does happen, because then your opponents are going to be worn down even quicker. But in combination with Curse and Knockoff, we're going to be running the famous Rest and Sleep Talk combination to allow this Pokemon to heal all the way back up to full health and remove any status it has been inflicted with, and then also continue to be a threat with Sleep Talk while asleep by possibly either gaining more Curse boosts or attacking your opponents with Knockoff when you Sleep Talk that move as well. But overall, this set can be incredibly bulky and difficult to deal with unless your opponent really has something that can specifically deal with Knockoff in and of itself, and also a boosted physical attacker, which makes the set in itself very deadly. Finally, for the last moveset of this video, we're actually going to be running Muk as a different kind of setup sweeper, where we're actually boosting our speed stat instead. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, go with the Poison Touch ability, and this time an EV spread of 252 attack EVs, 4 special defense EVs, and 252 speed EVs to max out its physical attack and its speed stat. And for the item on the set, we're going to be going with a Life Orb, which will allow us to increase the damage of all of our attacks at the cost of losing 10% of our health every time we damage our opponent. There's also the option of running a Z Crystal on the set to correspond with any of the attacks that we're going for here, but a Life Orb will net you probably the most damage overall across all of the moves that you're using. But for the first move on the set, we're actually going to be running Rock Polish, which is a move that Alolan Muk can learn, but regular Muk cannot, which will allow us to actually increase our speed stat by 2 stages, thus circumventing this Pokemon's very slow speed stat and making it quite an offensive threat that's going to be outspeeding a lot of things on the battlefield. And along with this, we're going to be running Gunk Shot as a way to allow this Pokemon to have its most powerful physical poison type move, and Knockoff again to give you a powerful dark type move to go for. And finally, for the last move on the set, it's really just dependent upon which elemental punch you think is going to be the most useful in regards to your team composition or what other Pokemon you anticipate your opponents to have. But Fire Punch, Ice Punch, and Thunder Punch are all really good options to go with here and give you some very interesting type coverage all around versus a ton of different Pokemon you could be matched up against. There's really no one best option because one will always be better than another depending upon your opponent's Pokemon. So it's entirely up to you which one you want to go with on this set. But overall, it's very interesting to see Muk be used as a speedy setup sweeper because the regular version of Muk cannot do this. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video on Alolan Muk. So thank you all for watching, hope you all enjoyed, and as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.